Welcome to Just Relationships, the show that offers you concrete ways to make your relationships better. Whether it's your boss, your spouse, your children, or your friends, the quality of your relationships in life directly affects how you feel about yourself and the success you achieve. Your host, Dr. Duffy Spencer, a psychotherapist, telecoach, author, and seminar leader, will interview top experts to help you learn to manage this essential part of your life. And now, here's your host, Dr. Duffy Spencer.
Greetings to you. Are you the hero or the heroine of your own life? Have you taken the hero's journey? Are you still in the hero's journey? You know, I believe we all have one, or shall I say we all can have one, because life brings adversity. And do we get on the other side of the adversity? Or do we get sunk down by the adversity? And that's what makes a hero versus a very unhappy human being. So I am very pleased to introduce to you the author of the book, Red Means Go, The Story About My Life, Joanne Balducci. And welcome. It's wonderful, Joanne, that you have written a book about how you've dealt with adversity and come out the other side. And Red Means Go. I love the title of your book.
Thank you, Dr. Duffy.
So tell us all about you, Joanne.
Well, I've had a very interesting life. I've had my ups and my downs and many obstacles to overcome. But I found that I've had my resilience helped me to stay down, but not stay down forever. You know, I whatever knocked me down, I managed to get up and continue on.
Yes.
And, Roosevelt once said, if you're going through hell, just keep on walking. Just keep on going.
Right.
And that's what I that was my mantra. No matter what hit me, I would just feel bad for a little bit and get up and keep going.
Just keep going. So do you think you were born resilient, or did you learn to be resilient?
I would say that I learned to be resilient. I came from a family that I was given the role of an almost like an adult at a young age, taking care of my 4 brothers at 12, and I was proud to be this person taking care of 4 brothers, but the reality was I didn't have the opportunity to be a kid.
Yeah.
And so I was like a parent. My mother and father worked at night, and I had to give my brothers a bath and put them to bed and do my homework, and it was, I couldn't belong to clubs or anything because I had to go straight home from school because I had be ready to take care of my brothers. My parents left the house at 5. So I just learned how to, I didn't learn how to develop my personality, but I learned how to survive. That was what I learned.
Yes. And there's a lot to be said for sheer survival, because that's what got you to this point today. Everything that you have done has gotten you to this point today.
I agree. And some people have read my book. This lady who lives in my community, she said, "Joe, I read your book," and she said, I was exhausted. After I got done reading it, she says, I was tired, just from listening to everything. She said it was good, but she said I was exhausted.
Wow. So what's your take on that?
Well, I had a really full life, and I had to do a lot of things, and I kind of felt like, did you ever see that movie Ulysses? I think it's Ulysses, where he goes out and he leaves his wife for many, many years. He's out there battling and in the ship. I kind of felt like that person, away from home for many, many years, just out there battling different battles and wanting to constantly go home. And I feel now that I'm in Florida, I finally have come home. And I'm doing stuff that I want to do, fun stuff.
Right. So now you're at the time in your life where you have true choice, and you can really enjoy your choices. Many people live their lives and they're not choiceful. They don't even know how to make choices. I know for myself, so many of my clients feel like they're in prison and they feel in a box. They use words like suffocated, stuck. And of course, that's my mission, to help get them unstuck and to start recognizing that they do have options. And with the word option, which means to see, optical, there's opportunities. So you don't have opportunities unless you're aware of options.
I agree with that. And I have to say that I didn't do it alone. I'm a firm believer in therapy. I spent many years in therapy. And sometimes things would just happen. It was just serendipity. One time I was singing in a pub. They had karaoke, and some woman came up to me and said, "You'll sing at my next function." I mean, I was just having a good time, and I ended up singing at this big event, and everyone loved it. And I was singing with people who were professionals who were getting paid for that night. I just did it just for the love of it, and I enjoyed it. And then after that, I just, it's like a block. You like building blocks. You put one little block and another one, and then you create this foundation.
Yes.
And I started to be scared about doing things, but I did it anyway. Like, I was afraid to get in front of people and sing, but then I found out that they were smiling and they were enjoying themselves, and that made me happy. And
wow.
It was my way of communicating, because I was a child who spent time in my home, my parents' home, I should say, being invisible. So now all of a sudden I have an audience of people that are listening to me and enjoying what they hear.
Oh my goodness, Joanne, that must have been so huge for you.
It is. It was huge for me.
Wow.
Because I didn't even know I had a singing voice. This happened like very late in life. I want to say in my late 40s I started singing. Didn't even know that I could sing.
That is so amazing to me.
I know it is. I'm just fortunate that I unlocked all these little doors, and there's this autistic movie about the woman who invented slaughterhouses. I know it's not a very nice subject, but she was autistic, but what she was afraid to go through doors, and her teacher told her, always think of this as an entranceway into a new happening, something positive. So whenever she got frightened, she'd envision that door, and she just another door, and I'm going to walk through it. And it worked for her. And she was scared, and she had these issues. So I watched that movie so many times because I enjoyed. There was such a strong message, and even though I'm not autistic, there was something about that character that I related to.
Surely. And the idea of a vision of a door, of walking through that threshold and imagining that there is an open door.
Yes.
And there is an open door in your life. And is it okay to let people know that I was your therapist for some time?
Oh, I'd be thrilled. Anything I can do to help anybody. My whole idea of my book is to try to help somebody. I've had people call and say, "Joe, I read your chapter about work, and I went through the same thing, and I thought I was crazy. But then I read your chapter, and now I feel better." And I was so happy to hear that.
Oh, boy. And I only asked you because you actually write about me in your book.
I do.
Which I am very, very honored, Joanne. And so if I may read a couple of sentences.
Oh, I would love you to.
So come in and meet me upstairs, Dr. Duffy said. I ascended on the plush carpeted steps and entered the room. The place looked comfy and inviting with plush pillows, books, and soft-colored hues. I saw the familiar box of tissues on the side table, which is a constant staple in a therapist's office. Slowly I lowered my body onto the love seat and waited for her to arrive. Didn't have to wait long. And she sat down across from me, and she had the smile of a Renaissance Madonna on her face. Joanne, how are you? And then you started to talk, and you started to talk about your life. And you poured your heart out to me. And there's more, but I won't read more. So you went through so much, which I personally witnessed.
Yes.
And you talk about resilience, and you talk about having, my term being parentified as a kid, having to take care of your 4 brothers. You also talk about courage, going ahead and doing something even though you're scared.
Yes.
You talk about not having to do things alone. You talk about taking one step at a time and to keep on walking no matter what.
Exactly. And not to be afraid to ask for help.
Right.
You know, everybody's so into, oh, you got to be independent. Oh, you got to do this by yourself. Oh, you got to stand on your own 2 feet. You know what? That's a lot of nonsense. I am not afraid to ask for help. And when people ask me for help, I'm happy to do it. It's a two-way street. And it becomes a synergy. When somebody helps you and you help them, you'd be amazed of what happens. It's just magical.
Right. And I just want to underscore that, Joanne. And this
Please.
is Dr. Duffy Spencer, and I am interviewing Joanne Balducci, who is the author of her autobiography entitled Red Means Go. And you have to explain that to us in a moment.
Sure.
And I wanted to, never mind.
No, that's okay.
No, I wanted to, I've never interviewed one of my clients before, so I am just in such awe of you and so happy for you. Oh yes, I remember what I wanted to say now that I wanted to underscore is that we live in an age of extreme individualism, where we are told that we should do everything alone by ourselves, and if we don't, then we're needy, we're helpless, we're weak. And it is such a dysfunctional, disastrous message to give people. So I'm an individualist in that I believe that everyone has the right to sing their own song and beat their own drum and all of that. And yet, it is the idea of not being able to ask for help that is the extreme, and that is the unhealthy piece. If you look at the 12-step movement, which is the most powerful spiritual movement in the 20th century, it all has to do with self-help through helping others. Just what you're saying. And I just want to give a quote that Mr. Rogers gives, and actually,
I love him.
Yes, and the quote is actually from Mrs. Rogers, because Mr. Rogers said that his mother always said to him, "Look for the helpers, Fred. When there's troubles in your life, there are always helpers. Look for the helpers." So that's what you did, Joanne. You looked for the helpers.
I did, and in the most extreme sense, I'll give away one of the chapters. I lost my house to Hurricane Sandy, and I got a knock at the door when I was busy trying to, take things out of the house. Once a house is flooded, you have to remove things because of the mold. And I got a knock at the door. It was Mormons, 2 beautiful young Mormon women. They said, "Can we help you?" And I could have said, "No, leave me alone. Let me feel sorry for myself for another couple of days." I said, "You know what? Come on in. And the next thing you know, I had 20 Mormons in my house, pulling out the walls and pulling out the floors. There's actually a picture of it in my book of the Mormons, and they spent like 2 weeks with me, taking all the walls out, taking all the floors out. It was just, I had such a close bond with these people. And then the Jehovah's came and did my laundry. And they were making fun of my zebra bras and my leopard underwear. They thought that was kind of funny. Then the Baptists came, and they kind of put some tarp on the roof. I had all these people knocking at my door, and I let them in. I let them in.
You let them in.
Yeah, and I was so happy I did, because I just learned about people. It rejuvenated my sense of that the people want to be good. People want to commune with other people. It just, I saw so many different things. I had to be, this whole business of losing my house just tore me down to the bare bones.
Oh.
I had to start. You can't get any lower than when everything's taken away from you in a day. And then I just had to build up from that. And I like what I rebuilt. I like the person I am now. I rebuilt something, I think, a better version of myself.
You lost everything and you rebuilt a better version of yourself.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I mean, I kind of wanted to put myself out to pasture, because I figured, I'm old now, I'm going to retire. I got a phone call while I'm down here. I'm a professor. I'm teaching online classes. I'm working as a receptionist at H&R Block. I'm singing. I don't want to tell you how many events people ask me to come and sing. And it's like I'm having this wonderful fairy tale life. I mean, I'm not making the money I was making in New York, but you know what? I'm so happy.
Oh, wow. You're so different, so happy now. And when I first met you, you were so unhappy.
Yes.
And you're doing things that are not what people would say, oh, you should do. And it doesn't matter. It's what you are doing for yourself that you enjoy.
Exactly, and that's the book, Red Means Go. So many times people have told me, when I went to buy the house so many years ago in 2000, I had my aunt and uncle come and take a look. They're like, you can't buy this house. You don't know how to fix anything. So I said, you know what? I'm going to buy the house. And then I became so handy that I actually know how to work a circular saw. My son, showed me how to do all these tools, and I became really handy. And then I gave my boys tools. And my son is a master carpenter in a hospital in Manhattan. Only because he was like 7 years old. I said, "You want to try to fix the doorknob? Go ahead, try." Oh. And he did. And now he's in a hospital. He's doing like this amazing carpentry work, all because I trusted him to fix a doorknob in my house.
And because go ahead.
Because, in other words, what's the worst going to happen? He would have done it wrong, and I would have hired somebody to fix it.
Right, exactly. So you gave him plenty of allowance to learn, and that is how we learn. That's how we learn to do, by doing.
Yes.
How courageous.
And having faith. I had faith in him.
Right. So faith and courage and resiliency, Joanne. Wow.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. But I'm very proud of the best thing I've ever done, that was my sons. I'm very proud of my sons. They are two people that I would want to know, even if they weren't related to me.
That's saying a lot.
And I can't believe. And people in the park, they said, your sons are just such lovely individuals, and they said, boy, they think the world of you.
Aww.
But I said, it's a two-way street. I think the world of them. I would do anything for them, and they were going to lose their house a long time ago, and I helped them. I had a very good paying job, and people were like, let them go bankrupt, leave them alone. Another Red Means Go. And I said, no, I'm going to help them. So even though I made this big money, I was walking around with pennies in my pocketbook. But then I went to this event where they were able to lower the interest rate, and my sons still have that house. They've been in it for 13 years, and when I lost my house, I lived with them for 3 years. So
wow.
It got turned around where they helped me. And what if I let them go bankrupt? Where would we be? We'd all be in the street. So it worked out really well.
So
I laugh when people say, don't do this. I'm like, okay, I agree to disagree with you,
right.
But I'm going to do what I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
Wow. So Red Means Go. When somebody gives you a stoplight, when they say stop, you can't do it, don't buy a house, you don't know how to fix things, you just decided to buy a house and learn how to fix things.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I did. And society they want to put you in these little boxes. Like, you have to do it this way, and this is the way you should be. And, I don't fit the norm. I went into a man's profession, I did a lot of things that weren't
being a
expected
CPA.
of a woman.
Mean? Being a CPA.
Being a CPA, right? Because it was at the time that I went into it. It was predominantly men, but now it's changed. Now it's changed.
Yes.
And just different things that I did. Even I don't know, just many different things that I did. Learning to drive a school bus at one point in my life. All these things were male-dominated professions. But I did have 4 brothers, and I think I felt very comfortable with men.
There
and
you
I
go.
think that's why I always gravitated towards men and male professions. It just felt comfortable.
And you know, Joanne, that's where the money is.
Yeah, that's where the money is. It's true. It's so true.
Yeah, so for women to leave what's called the pink-collar ghetto.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, because in the earlier, a couple of decades ago, women were earning 59 cents on the male dollar, and now I think they're earning something like 77, 78 cents on the male dollar. And to go into the non-traditional jobs for women, again, everything in your life involves courage. And when you talk to me about having 4 brothers, I'm reminded of a very interesting study of top women, very decisive, very powerful, very, very successful women. And it turned out that all of them were daughters where the father wanted a son and treated them like they were a boy.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, so you actually learned a lot of things from your brothers. You helped them, you parented them, and you also learned a lot.
It's true. It's so true, Dr. Duffy. Because when I said to my dad I wanted to go to college, he said, I can't send you. You're a girl. He goes, I got to send you brothers. And ironically, I was the only one that went. But I told my dad. That was the first thing I said. I said, Dad, I'm going anyway. I didn't even know how I was going to do it. But by saying it and verbalizing and getting the words out in the air, I made it happen for real. I said, Dad, I'm going anyway. And he looked at me like, and I was only like 14, and he was this really macho fireman. He was muscular. He was like a Charles Bronson, really a male kind of alpha dog. And
yes.
But I gave it back to him and verbally. Like, I'm not going to take this, Dad. I'm going.
Love it, Dad. I'm going anyway.
Yeah, so I told him.
Wow. If we wait for permission, we don't get it.
But don't kid yourself. It wasn't an easy road. It was at times it was a lonely. It was the least traveled road. It was lonely, but you know what? Now I'm reaping the benefits. And I tell my students, I tell my accounting students, give yourself a pat on the back that you are here with me learning this subject, and you could be home watching TV, you could be out playing sports, and you're here taking the time to educate yourself. You should give yourself a pat on the back, and you should be proud of yourself. I tell them all the time. I said, you will not starve when you get an education. No one can ever take that away from you. I always give them a pep talk all the time. And I adore them. I adore them because I just know, I remember when I was a student and how, it turned my life around, getting an education.
How lucky they are to have you as their teacher.
Thank you, Dr. Duffy. You're too kind.
Oh, wow.
I feel very blessed. I really am. My cup runneth over for sure. Except I miss the boys. I miss the boys. They're not in the same state as me, but I miss them.
Yes. I do think life is a trade-off, and so many of my clients who are stuck don't want to give up anything. And a lot of change involves letting go.
Yes. I had things pulled out from under me, so maybe it was fortunate that I lost the house, because I was clinging to that house. It was just everything was in that house. My earnings, my life's work. We were doing all the work in the house. I was just kind of wrapped up in that house. It was almost like having a codependency with an inanimate object,
Oh, yes, absolutely. And I do a lot of lecturing on decluttering. And it is a codependency with an inanimate object. an inanimate object that can't grow legs and abandon you, well, in that case, your house, you lost it. But stuff for people that doesn't call them names, that's very, very well put, Joanne.
Oh, thank you. No, I did a lot of soul searching. I mean, I spent a lot of time by myself. And to tell you the truth, I enjoy my own company. But there was a time in my life where I couldn't be by myself. I didn't like myself. And I had to always be out there doing something, working 3 jobs so that I can anesthetize myself by just being so exhausted. Now, I'm happy to spend time with myself. I'm happy to, I just enjoy puttering around my house. I have a garden here. I really enjoy all the simple things in my life. I love hanging clothes on the line. Everything to me is like terrific.
Oh, how wonderful. The simple life. And to go from being a busyholic and not wanting to be alone to enjoying your solitude.
Yeah.
I think there's a huge difference between isolation and solitude.
I agree with you there.
Yeah, and many people...
You could be in a room full of people, and you could be very lonely.
Right. And many people will isolate, and it's not good. And how do you tell the difference? Are you lonely? Are you enjoying your own company? Are you hiding, or are you just being rich within yourself and appreciating having your own company? So there is really a huge difference. So you have gone from isolating or being a busyholic, one or the other, to enjoying your own solitude, and you just kept on keeping on. You just kept doing it. And how lovely that you're reaping the benefits and that you're so grateful for what you have.
I am, and I think it's just a matter of baby steps. It's just taking little baby steps, and before you know it, you're doing a lot. I mean, I've just got this thirst for knowledge. Like, I'm learning everything I could learn, learning how to sing. I'm taking singing lessons, learning how to shoot a gun. Not that I would buy one, but just that I should know how to do that. Just to me, knowledge is important, and just knowing my surroundings. Before, I was running through life so fast that I didn't even see what was going on. Now, I walk the dog and I see the roses, I see the flowers, I see the insects.
That proverbial.
I see the ducks.
And we do have to close, Joanne.
Thank you, Dr. Duffy.
Balducci, how can we get your book?
You can get it on Amazon.com. Okay. It's going to be on Audible, in case you don't like to read, Audible.com this month, the end of the month.
Wonderful.
And you can get the paperback version or the Kindle version.
Red means go. Joanne Balducci. And congratulations, Joanne. Just kudos. I'm so happy for you.
Thanks, Dr. Duffy.
You're welcome. And this is Dr. Duffy saying goodbye for now and wishing you great relationships.